think first we have to ask, what do we want to do with this greater visibility? And are there, what is, it answer that first, then it ask the question, how do we want to get that out? Because it may be exactly finding out who our constituents are, and who, you know, are there lists that we can access there, and present those sort of the 10 common questions that people ask, that sort of stuff, that we are there for you and there are different means of doing that, but I think we need to maybe define first.
Yeah, that's
Why we want to have more visibility.
Right.
I'm not critical of that, but you know, I think
Just
it generates more questions for me than.
until I was asked to be on HEAC, I had no idea it existed. And I had been homeschooling in New Hampshire for several years, and I thought to myself, there's a whole holy host of people who are ready to help, and I had no idea. So if I can't be the only one.
But you're assuming we know what we're doing, right?
Well, that is a big assumption, yes. And even if we don't know what we're doing, we know people who do.
Yeah. People go online and they figure that they've read the rules or whatever else is
Right.
there. But
Yep,
back in the old days, it was always, if you have a problem, talk to your local support group leader,
yes.
Mm.
or the person on the coalition or Chen or whatever. And then if it's really a problem, go to HEAC, or they will. I mean, one of the things we did on the coalition board all the time was go, oh, this is a really serious one, and we already called that district and told them that the law doesn't say that, but they're not listening to us, so then the HEAC person would contact the school district.
And that's
So
basically,
we would not be encouraging anyone to like ask their question on Facebook,
no,
but say,
This is how you
here
get
we are.
answers to
So
your
then
questions.
they would go
yes,
message your group and say, you know, I have a neighbor who's complaining about me, or, you know, I know that the people next door to me are not really homeschooling, but they do it at least privately.
But if the vast majority of people aren't using it because of social or, you know, religious reasons, it may not be our medium.
right, that's why I'm thinking.
Yeah.
You know,
what's
they
the
may
best
be,
way?
they may solve that problem a different way.
Yeah,
right.
That's
Like
all,
with
and
the
I'm not saying the
paragraph,
answer, but you know, I
But we
wonder.
group solve it different ways. So for
Yes.
example, the coalition has a Facebook page and a group. The coalition has a huge website. The coalition
Mhm.
sends a newsletter out to,
Right,
you know,
right, right.
1,500 people or something. And then there are all the support groups. So there's a support group for my area. So if there's anything they need to know, that goes out on our email list.
So you don't need us anymore, right?
Well, we need content.
Trying to be funny.
That's the thing. Because people like me, and I am now on the HEAC, but, you know, Amy was before me, and I've been the webmaster for the coalition since 2002, so I've been doing all these things and doing all this stuff. So I didn't want to be here also, but if somebody sends a paragraph to the organizations, they'll get it out. But it has to start someplace, it has to start here. Yeah.
how do we best achieve our, I guess my motion would be a committee to help determine how we best achieve our mission, you know, is it a platform, is it some other way? I'm not particularly favorable to any one way, I just want to, I think it'd be good to find a way so that more homeschoolers know that we exist, so that instead of thrashing around on their own against the district, you know, that we get the information, we can try to do something about it.
Basically for cases that need to be escalated beyond, hey, does anyone like this curriculum? You know, something that, I have a woman that I'm actually in touch with now who needs more than just one single homeschool person can provide. So to let people know, hey, if you really need to call in somebody, we can help you escalate things to the commissioner or whatever has to happen. I really like the idea of sending out a paragraph too. So do you guys want to form that committee to figure out how to get our visibility raised? Or do you think we can just say, let's vote on sending out a paragraph? I mean, George has made the motion, so someone's got a second one. Yeah.
Did you second it? I'm half deaf too, besides everything else that's wrong with me.
I seconded it, I'm going to participate in it.
That's right.
Time for
Right,
that.
and that's, yeah.
Yeah, technically, we shouldn't be talking about it if we don't.
Right,
have a second.
exactly. All right, I'll second it, so we can keep talking.
Okay, then we can vote down or up.
Right.
You know, that comes after.
Okay, not being a homeschooler, how does somebody start? Not to teach the children, but where do you find the original information that you need in order to get going?
Many people will do a Google search
Google.
for the laws.
Okay.
And you'll probably come across either the Coalition or Granite State Home Educators because they have the most hits on their websites. And both websites have all the laws, all the information,
Okay.
and then links to Facebook pages where you can connect with a human or email addresses and phone numbers.
I'm thinking if that's, if they hit those two organizations,
Yep,
wouldn't that be, one of them, would that, both of them be a good place to have updates?
We have a whole page for
Yes.
the, yeah.
Okay. So
yep.
why do you need another one? I guess is one of my questions.
I'm not sure how to get more information out to more people. HEAC has an entire page on the Coalition. They have an entire write-up in the Home Educators newsletter as well. And people will come to me and say, well, I'm having these huge problems. I'm like, okay, well, have you thought about contacting HEAC? Well, who's that?
Okay.
And so most general homeschoolers don't even know that it's out there, and they just figure, well, my friend over here told me something, or Michelle's name gets dropped a lot. Well, she knows this and this and this, and it's one of those things where I feel like we're a resource that isn't being utilized right now. Beyond going over the rules, and we meet every other month, but we need to be doing something.
Right, okay.
And if people aren't coming to us, we need to kind of go out to them. It's like
In the old
walking
days.
extension in a way.
In the old days, everybody knew about HEAC because when
Right.
the homeschool legislation was first passed back in 1990, HEAC was a big point that we pushed because we wanted to make sure that homeschoolers were involved in, creating the rules. We didn't want just a bunch of people up at the department who weren't necessarily familiar with homeschooling or friendly to it, working on the rules. So, because of all the publicity that surrounded the creation of that law, people knew about the HEAC back then. But over the years, especially after the changes in the law, it simplified it a lot. People they just go online and look for this, that, and the other thing, that's it. It's even hard to get homeschool groups.
I was gonna say, we
Face
don't
to
be in
face
face to
meetings.
face the way we
No,
used to,
Yeah.
either,
not at
just
all.
because things are online. So
Yeah,
where you might hear an interesting discussion about your homeschooling friend who had her letter rejected, you don't hear that anymore. And that's just true with everything, whether it's
Mhm.
homeschooling or any other kind of organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you make something come up on a Google search when you're Googling for homeschooling?
There's a whole rubric
Yeah.
that
Yes,
goes
right.
behind
Yeah,
that.
if you Google
Pay
homeschooling
people
New
to do
Hampshire,
things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you would think.
Homeschool
Right.
home education, you get,
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
yep.
it's not a problem.
And I don't have the answer. Facebook was just the first thing that popped into my head because that's where I do a lot of my things and it's super easy. And it's easy to control who posts what, and it's easy to control who answers what as well. And I didn't want it to be a free-for-all or even necessarily an open page. But just something, and I don't know what the answer is, something so that people know we exist and they turn to us for appropriate questions.
my question is, if we have a Facebook page and people don't know we exist, why are they gonna go to our Facebook?
How are they gonna find us on Facebook?
Well, for
Why would
one,
they-
it's
why would they
linked on
go
all
there?
the other,
Yeah,
Yeah,
link
it's
is-
on
yeah,
Facebook.
linked
I
on
mean,
all their pages.
Yeah.
It does seem to be something that would be helpful to link in periodically with some regularity with the existing homeschooling groups that, maybe in some fashion or another. You can't hit people once, you have to hit them twice, 3 times, 4 times.
Absolutely.
Maybe quarterly with some sort of,
So the question is, do we need a committee to study this?
yeah, the question is,
How do we handle it?
Yeah, how do
That's
we move
what I'm-
forward?
Yeah. We want
Could be ad hoc.
do we want some people thinking about how to,
Yeah, we can think
or
about
yeah,
it.
would not be.
you know,
And I'd be fine with that if everybody, we just table this and maybe people come up with some ideas.
Well, you know, we could email
Without
some people
committee.
things back and forth too. You know, if someone wants to take, if you want to take leadership on that, and just throw some things
Yeah, I'm
out
happy
to
to
us. I
come
don't
up with
mind.
paragraphs to blast out in different places.
Yeah.
That's,
But I think, you know,
Do that.
keep the discussion.
Discussion open.
Because I don't, meeting time actually.
no,
Yeah, well, you can't have a meeting online, you know, we have a camera.
yeah, we can't really have meetings and emails,
That's correct.
but that works. Okay. Do I have to make a motion to decline?
No, if there's no second, it doesn't even have to get recorded in the minutes.
I did second it, but
Yeah.
I can withdraw my second.
Withdraw your
Oh, you made
second.
a second. Oh, okay, you made a second, we'll just vote it down. You know, I mean,
All in
I'm
favor of forming a
no
committee? All opposed? Okay, motion is rejected. What I wanted to bring up is this case of this mom who has been in touch with me. There's a divorce, and she has been homeschooling for 8 years. After the divorce was filed for, then the husband came back and said he did not want the children to be homeschooled anymore. She has brought her case before the judge. The judge has given her curfews for her children, limits on electronics and things, and she is just not pleased with the way her lawyer is handling things. And she asked me to bring it before he acted to see if anybody had any suggestions, if anybody knew any good lawyers.
see Sal how to
Is it joint custody?
It had, the hearing was supposed to be about custody, and she said it ended up being mostly about homeschooling.
Because it's dependent on the type of custody.
Right.
Because sometimes, we do run into, sometimes they have equal say, and then you have a real problem, but sometimes the mom or the dad is really in charge of the children and their education and their, so.
The judge usually decides if they live in different towns, which
Jimmy, I'm
town
just
is the
gonna go
district
check
that
with Rich Sal.
responsibility for education.
That you decide have to leave because not to be somewhere else.
Okay. Some of the things that she sent to me that the judge had handed out, both parties shall enforce regular bedtime routine. Neither party shall permit the children to stay up later than 10. What she the judge wants the mother to submit, let's see, the children shall immediately be evaluated, undergo current academic assessment, and the father shall receive the portfolio on a monthly basis. Just
It's a
lots
pretty
of
demanding.
random. Yeah, the portfolios for his own review at a minimum of once per month or upon request. The mother shall submit evaluations which have been conducted for the past 2 years and any additional years she has retained on file. There's a lot of, and I don't know what's unlawful or if it all goes out the window because it's a divorce case. And she was just kind of appealing to me for any sort of help. So I thought I would appeal to all of you.
My experience with this, I have a lot of people that run into this as a consultant. And a lot of times you'll have people that want a kid to attend their school or they live in different towns. Usually the judge will decide that.
Yep.
Yeah, and say, we can't, nobody can do much about that.
Okay.
And then, but in terms of, and then most judges will play into, what are the educational responsibilities of the parent, supervisory responsibilities of the parent. But it's usually, in my experience, it's a lot of people aren't happy with what the judge comes up with, but usually that's decided in court.
Right. She's hoping that she could, sorry?
But I think for an attorney, there's good educational attorneys out there,
Is she looking for a new legal assistance possibly?
Yeah.
Possibly. She's not
Happy with,
She's not happy with her current one. She'd been advised to contact one who had handled a previous homeschooling case that was out in the Hampton area, I guess Kowalski. But anyway, she had been advised to contact him as a lawyer, but she wasn't comfortable with him either. And she said that there aren't very many homeschooling knowledgeable lawyers who do divorce law out there. She said she's contacted about a dozen of them and has not heard.
Do you know how old these children are?
I teach one of them at Mosaic, and she's, I think, 13 or 14, and then the younger one is 10 or 11. And they've been homeschooled for the last 8 years.
So I was gonna say, you know, if they're really young, that sounds like it's just way over the top, but sometimes when kids are going into the high school years, the parent who doesn't like homeschooling wants to make sure that they've got all the little ducks in a row and can apply to college, and so
Right.
end up with these.
The mom seems to think that it's a financial thing, so that he won't have to support a homeschooling family. Is her impression that she gave to me.
I see, and demand that she be able to go back to work.
Right.
I know.
Does anyone know any employers, I guess?
Well, I was saying, there's a firm in Portsmouth that just trying to remember the name of it, so I mean, you have the disabilities, right? You know, there's no disabilities involved with this, but they're educational attorneys at, I can't remember the name.
Drummond and Woodson does a lot of education.
Yeah, that's Drummond and Woodson.
Drummond and Woodson.
Yeah,
Drummond?
Drummond and Woodson.
They're in Portsmouth downtown.
Yeah, Portsmouth,
They just
right.
moved.
Because they always present at
Yeah.
the March conference,
Yeah.
special ed. But I think they're general ed
Okay.
attorneys too. I mean, they're knowledgeable.
Closer to Manchester, Eric Herman, no, not Eric Herman, no, Dean Eckert.
Dean Eckert,
Dean
yeah.
Eckert. Eric Herman is with Drummond and Woodson. Dean Eckert.
Dean's very good.
He's very good.
And he's closer to Manchester. too?
Yeah. And they represent a lot of school districts.
There's also-
They know education law.
Excellent.
Home education law.
There's also Mike Chamberlain in Manchester.
Yeah.
I think he's still practicing.